Hey there, YouTube. Before I get into the video, let me remind you, if you like my content, hit that like and subscribe button. And also, if you feel the need to support me, hit me up on my Patreon at patreon.com/uncommonramen, capital U, capital R. I do all this in my free time, so any amount of support can help me bring more of this content to you more often. Alright, today we are going to be starting a 3-part series with all the different Kellans available. I'm not sure if they are going to do a Kellan in Thunder Junction. I kind of assume they are. They have not spoiled it yet. If they do, look forward to a 4th part. So this is Kellan the Fey-Blooded. This is the first time we saw Kellan. This is 2 and a red for a 2/2 with a adventure. Birthright boon for 1 and a white. It's a sorcery. Search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. On his creature side, he is double strike, and other creatures you control get +1/+0 for each aura and equipment attached to Kellan the Fey-Blooded. So essentially what we want to do here is search for equipment or auras, and then equip up Kellan and create an army of tokens that get really big because of Kellan's auras and equipments being attached. Now there's 2 ways to build this. You can obviously build this equipment, or you can build this auras, or a mixture of the both. It's difficult finding a good balance in that. I've seen the equipment-based ones. A lot of them revolve around Hammer of Nazan and really just revolve around a Voltron strategy. Since Kellan has double strike, we are going to do an aura strategy. So let's strap in. Let's look at the creatures. I think it stops right there, yeah. So we're going to start with Johnny's Chosen for 2 and 2 white as a 3/3. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you get to create a 2/2 white cat creature token. If that enchantment is an aura, you may attach it to that token. We've got Anim Pakal, 1000th Moon. It is 1 a red and a white for a 1/2. Whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnome creatures, you may put +1/+1 counter on a Gnome Pakal. Then create X 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on a Gnome Pakal. Got Archon of Sun's Grace for 2 and 2 white. It's a 3/4 with flying and lifelink. Pegasus creatures you control have lifelink. It has Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you get to create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. Got Ardent Intrepid Archaeologist for 2 and a white. It's a 2/2 at the beginning of combat. On your turn, you may attach any number of auras and equipments you control to target permanent or player. This has partner. Got Armored Sky Hunter for 3 and a white. It's a 3/3 flying. Whenever Armored Sky Hunter attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put an aura or equipment card from among them onto the battlefield. If an equipment is put onto the battlefield this way, you may attach it to a creature you control. Put the rest of those cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. We got Danitha Benalia's Hope. Danitha Benalia's Hope for 4 and a white. It's a 4/4 with first strike, vigilance, lifelink. When Danitha Benalia's Hope enters the battlefield, you may put an aura or equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to Danitha. Danitha Compassion Paragon for 2 and a white. It's a 2/2 with first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. Aura and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Eidolon of Countless Battles for 1 and 2 white. It's a 0/0. Bestow for 2 and 2 white. Eidolon of Countless Battles and Enchanted Creature each get +1/+1 for each creature you control, and +1/+1 for each aura you control. Hero of Erois for 1 and a white is a 2/2. Aura spells cost 1 less to cast. It has Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of Erois, put a +1/+1 counter on Hero of Erois. Core Spirit Dancer for 1 and a white. It's a 0/2. Core Spirit Dancer gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. When you cast an aura spell, you may draw a card. Krenko Tin Street Kingpin for 2 and a red. It is a 1/2. When Krenko Tin Street Kingpin attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. Light Paws Emperor's Voice for 1 and a white is a 2/2. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura with a different name than each aura you control, and put that card onto the battlefield attached to Light Paws Emperor's Voice, then shuffle. Mesa Enchantress for 1 and 2 white is a 0/2. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. SRAM Senior Edificer for 1 and a white. It is a 2/2. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, you may draw a card. Starfield Mystic for 1 and a white is a 2/2. Enchantment spells cost 1 less to cast, and whenever an enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Starfield Mystic. Starnheim Courser for 2 and a white is a 2/2 with flying. Artifact and enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Sun Titan for 4 and 2 white. It is a 6/6 with vigilance. Whenever Sun Titan enters the battlefield, you may return target permanent card from your graveyard, or with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sorry about that. Tiana, Ship's Caretaker. For 3, a red and a white. It's a 3/3 with flying and first strike. Whenever an aura or equipment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of your next end step. Transcendent Envoy for 1 and a white. It is a 1/2 with flying. Aura spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And then finally we have Umbra Mystic for 2 and a white. It's a 2/2. Auras attached to a permanents you control have totem armor. Okay, next up is Instants. Starting with Boros Charm for red and white, you get to choose one. Either have Boros Charm deal 4 damage to target player, permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn, or target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Chaos Warp for 2 and a red. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it is a permanent, they put it onto the battlefield. Generous Gift for 2 and a white. Destroy target permanent. Its controller gets a 3/3 elephant creature token. Path to Exile for 1 white. Exile target creature. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card. Put that card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Stroke of Midnight for 2 and a white. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller gets a 1/1 white human creature token. Swords to Plowshares for 1 white. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Alright, next up is sorceries. Start with Open the Armory for 1 and a white. Search your library for an aura or equipment card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Got Retether for 3 and a white. Return each aura card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Only creatures can be enchanted this way. Unfinished Business for 3 and 2 white. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, then return up to 2 target aura and equipment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to that creature. Winds of Wrath for 3 and 2 white. Destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted. They can't be regenerated. And then I believe, last but not least, we got Witch's Mark for 1 and a red. You may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards and then create a Wicked Roll token attached to 1 target creature you control. Okay, next up is equipment. Starting with Anduril, Flame of the West. This costs 3. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, create 2 tapped 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. If that creature is legendary, instead create 2 tokens of the 2 of those tokens that are tapped and attacking. It equips for 2. Sorry about that. Arcane Signet costs 2. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color of your commander's color identity. Blackblade Reforged for 2. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Equip legendary creature for 3. Equip normal creature for 7. Boros Signet costs 2. You can tap 1 and tap it for red and white. Got Helm of the Gods. It costs 1. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. Equips for 1. Nettle Cyst. It costs 3. It has Living Weapon. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact or enchantment you control. Equips for 2. Soul Ring costs 1. You can tap it for 2 colorless. Swiftfoot Boots costs 2. Equipped creature has Hexproof and Haste and equips for 1. Sword of the Animist costs 2. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Equips for 2. Talisman of Conviction. It costs 2. You can tap it for colorless, or you can tap it for red, white, and have Talisman of Conviction deal 1 damage to you. And then finally we have Thran Power Suit. Costs 2. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and has Ward 2. Equips for 2. Next up is enchantments, and this is where the bulk of the deck is. We're going to start with All That Glitters. This is 1 and a white enchanted creature. Gets +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment you control. Angelic Destiny for 2 and 2 white. Enchanted creature gets +4/+4, has flying first strike, and is an angel in addition to its other types. When enchanted creature dies, return Angelic Destiny to its owner's hand. Angelic Gift for 1 and a white. Enchanted creature... when Angelic Gift enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature is flying. Bravado for 1 and a red. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control. Cathar's Call for 2 and a white. Enchanted creature has vigilance, and at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Chains of Custody for 2 and a white. When Chains of Custody enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Chains of Custody leaves the battlefield. Enchanted creature has Ward 2. Curse of Opulence for 1 red. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a gold token. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. Darksteel Mutation for 1 and a white. Enchanted creature is an insect artifact creature with base power and toughness 0/1, has indestructible, and loses all other abilities and types and creature. And types and creature types. Wow, I didn't know that part. Daybreak Coronet for 2 white. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3 and has first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. It says enchant creature with... Oh, yeah, you can only enchant a creature that already is enchanted with Daybreak Coronet. Draconic Destiny for 1 and 2 red. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, has flying, haste, and you can tap 1 to give it +1/+0 until end of turn. It's a dragon in addition to its other types, and when enchanted creature dies, return Draconic Destiny to its owner's hand. Dragon Mantle for 1 red. Enchanted creature when Dragon Mantle enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature has fire breathing. Ethereal Armor costs 1 white. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. Hyena Umbra for 1 white. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has first strike. It also has totem armor. Mantle of the Ancients for 3 and 2 white. When Mantle of the Ancients enters the battlefield, return any number of target aura and or equipment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it. Sage's Reverie for 3 and a white. When Sage's Reverie enters the battlefield, draw a card for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. Sigarda's Aid for 1 white. You may cast Sigarda's Aid... you may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. Sigil of the Empty Throne for 3 and 2 white. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Songbird's Blessing for 3 and a white. When enchanted creature attacks, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an aura card. You may put that card onto the battlefield. If you don't, put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Spirit Mantle for 1 and a white. Enchanted creature has +1/+1 and protection from creatures. Squeeze Embrace for a red and a white. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. When enchanted creature is put into a graveyard, return the creature card to its owner's hand. Sticky Fingers for 1 red. Enchanted creature has menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. When enchanted creature dies, draw a card. Timely Ward for 2 and a white. You may cast this spell as though it had flash if it targets a commander. Enchanted creature has indestructible. Unquestioned Authority for 2 and a white. When Unquestioned Authority enters the battlefield, draw a card. And enchanted creature has protection from creatures. Sorry about that. Okay, next up is non-basic lands. Which are going to be pretty standard here. We got Axeguard Armory. Enters tapped, taps for white. You can pay 1 red, 2 red and a white, tap it and sacrifice it. Search your library for an aura card and or equipment card, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Battlefield Forge, which is a pain land for red-white. Boros Garrison, which is a bounce land for red-white. Clifftop Retreat, which is a check land for red-white. Command Tower, which is taps for color identity. Fury Calm Snarl, which is a reveal land for red-white. Needle Verge Pathway, which is an MDFC for red-white. Restless Bivouac, which is a man land for red-white. Rogue's Passage, which taps for colorless, and you can pay 4 and tap it to have a creature become unblockable until end of turn. Rugged Prairie, which is a filter land for red-white. Sacred Foundry, which is a shock land for red-white. Spectator Seating, which is a crowd land for red-white. Sundown Pass, another check land for red-white. And Temple of Triumph, which is a scry land for red-white. Finally, we got our basic lands. We have 1, 2, 3 mountains, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 plains. So that is the first of the Kellans. I should say the newest, or I mean the oldest of the Kellans. Kellan Fey-Blooded. 2 in a red. Equipment based, well, equipment aura based. We want to do a token strategy as well as just a Voltron strategy if necessary. The great thing about this deck is that you can fall back on either strategy should one fail, because Kellan is just very powerful in that sense. But having both strategies also means that it makes it harder for your opponents to kind of just stop you one way or another. So there you go, Kellan the Fey-Blooded. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. Keep it positive. I will remove negative comments. And next time, guys, peace.